So, greetings from Finland, and nice to have you all listening. So, I'll present to you some new ways how we are interpreting in our geoheritage in the future in Rokua Geopark. And first, I'll tell you a little bit where we are located and how our park is, so that you understand what is the geoheritage we are trying to interpret. So we are located in middle of Finland, close to Arctic Circle, and at the moment we are the only UNESCO Global Geopark in Finland, and we've been now 10 years as a UNESCO Global Geopark. And our story is related to the heritage of last ice age. It shaped our nature, our landscape a lot, and we can recognize the traces, especially the traces of melting phase of Weichselian ice age. But we also have very old rocks, so practically the Archean gneisses and Precambrian granites and so on, dating back to 2.7 billion years at oldest. And also we have a rich cultural history, also in a Finnish scale. We have very old Stone Age settlement areas and lots of legends and myths related especially to river valleys and that kind of sites. And we want to share experiences for visitors and local peoples, and kind of explorations in Nordic nature, so that they can have better experiences, especially by learning from our geoheritage. But many times we have faced a problem that interpreting and telling about the geoheritage is very, very challenging. And it's especially due to the nature of geological processes and geological time. And our area is very flat. Our highest peak is just under 200 meters above sea level, even though our region is located, some points are located over 100 kilometers from a coastline. So it's very, very flat. And that makes it even more difficult because we have had even high mountains and so on. So it's very hard to realize what has happened. So in the first phase, a few years ago, we published a three-dimensional model of our region, and it's available as an application for Android and Apple devices. And there we have used laser measurement data to present the landscape and to reveal the landforms we have. For example, here is an esker area with dunes and shore banks, ancient shore banks, kettle holes, etc. But still, it's very hard to understand and tell how the region has really developed. And to solve this challenge, we started just 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, a project together with an University of Applied Sciences to create the fourth dimension to our application and our interpreting tools. And that means time. So as we have had 3 dimensions so far, so now we also add the time. It means we create virtual models from certain points in our Geopark area, and we built kind of time windows to present how the landscape was in old times. And I'll show you some example of what it means. This is one of our geosites. It's a gneiss outcrop located in eastern part of our park. And it's very interesting also for local people, for visitors, so on. So it's nowadays very popular site. And geologists know what the different colors and shapes in the rocks are. But telling for visitors that they are due to old mountains and to the tectonic movements and so on. So, and that the age is almost 3 billion years. It's very hard to imagine what has happened and how the landscape really was at once. And now this is one of the sites where we built the time windows to the past. And the one window is the time as it was 2.7 billion years ago. And the second step is a time when actually the mountains cracked and tectonic plate cracked, and actually we got a huge rift valley and volcanoes and an ocean, which gives the black colors to the rocks. And what we do, so now I'm not going to play this YouTube link. It's just a demonstration how the views are. You can open this later and take a look. It's a 360 degrees video clip. So then you can turn the view and look around. But the idea is that we will use these virtual models in our new exhibitions, and then the visitors can put virtual glasses on in their head, and then jump in the past sceneries, and then they can move in this scenery. So actually they can look how the landscape was 2.7 billion years ago in the same outcrop, and they can move a little bit in the landscape, look around how it was. And here we are cooperating with Geological Survey of Finland, and they have done a scientific research, also collected studies how the climate was at that time, how the mountains looked most probably at that time, and so on. So all the sceneries that we built, all the virtual models, are based on a scientific research data. So it's not only based on our own feelings. It's really based on a scientific data from the region. And also the Rift Valley. So actually the visitors, they can jump in the landscape 2.3 billion years ago and realize that it was really a very, very dramatic landscape at that time. There were volcanoes, flowing lava, etc. And that the present terrain was still 10 kilometers under this view. So here we also tell the erosion. So all this that we can view, we can see in past, it has eroded, and only the roots of these volcanoes are now visible, and those we can see in landscape. Another site is the Pyhäkoski Rapids. Nowadays there is a hydro power plant at that site. It used to be the biggest free rapid in Finland before the hydro energy production. But it's also a very important place for our geopark in many ways. So actually, before the power plant, there used to be a hanging bridge. And we want to share the experience for visitors. They can actually walk over the hanging bridge and see how the free river used to be. And there were boats going on and fishermen and so on. Landscape was very different. But then we can also jump back in time about 5,000 years, 5,500 years, when we actually had the coastline in the same place. So we have a land uplift process going on in Finland, especially in our region. And due to land uplift, we had the shoreline 5,500 years ago, just above the power plant. And when we jump in that landscape, we can actually find a Stone Age village from the same place. Nowadays, we can also only see some traces of these ancient settlements there. But now we have cooperated with archaeologists also, so that they give us data, how the people were it, what kind of settlements they actually had, what they were hunting, and so on. And we also try to model that as well as possible. And the vegetation, so climate was different, vegetation was different. So we also modeled that in the same picture. And the ancient shoreline and the river delta. But when we jump 1 billion years back in time, we can find the same place in close to Ecuador. And it means that actually there were no visible plants, no visible animals, only some algae living in water. So the landscape was very different. Climate was very different again. Yes, thank you. And even the color of sky was different due to different composition of atmosphere. But still, there was a river, and actually we can find conglomerates in the river banks which tell about this time. And that's why we want to share this view, because this place is actually only exposition of only outcrop of a huge sand and claystone formation which we have in western part of our geopark. It's old graben, ancient graben, which is now covered by younger sediments. So we want to share the imagination that how the landscape was at that time when the graben was developing. So it was an ancient delta area. And then during the last ice age, actually the meltwaters of glacier transported sediments from this sediment stone area to our esker area, which you can see in the middle of the map. And that is the reason why we have such a special landforms nowadays in our esker area. It's because of this sand and claystone formation. And we had almost 3 kilometers ice just 18,000 years ago. And about 11,000 years ago, the ice was melting in our region. And the highest peak is called Pookivaara Hill. This is how it looks nowadays. And as we jump back in time about 18,000 years, so we can go actually to walk on the glacier. And here we can see that the present terrain is about 2.6 kilometers under our feet. So this is one view for this place. The another one is this So when the edge of the glacier was in this place, forming the esker and so on. I don't have now a screenshot of this view, but that is one time window for this place. But we want to share also the experience, what the Ice Age really meant. It was a very, very different time as nowadays. So here is a schematic picture of the exhibition. So as part of the new exhibitions, which we will build in three municipalities in our area. So we will build this kind of virtual rooms where the people can wear the virtual glasses and then jump in the past times. So we combine the virtual models to more traditional ways to present the information in exhibition. And we hope that people can better understand and experience also the past time and realize what is behind the geoheritage and geosites that we have nowadays. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much to Mikko for an incredibly engaging talk, and I'm sure there are many people around the world watching and thinking how they can apply that to their geoheritage sites. A few quick questions before we move on. We firstly have a question from John McAdam, who asks, I look forward to using the new VR on my next visit. When will the VR be ready, please?
Thank you, John. So actually, we will add 360 YouTube videos in our application, which is available free in Play Store and Apple stores. So there you will have the first-hand experience of those. And then, of course, when you arrive in our Geopark and visit the exhibitions, there you can get the real experience by wearing the virtual glasses. But we will publish the first models next autumn, and then in 1 year all the models will be ready. So that is the time scale and the ways how you can experience the views.
I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking out for that. I'm going to wrap up, just a very quick question just to wrap up. I'm going to try and tie together a few while Marie-Noël prepares. Very good. So the questions are, what is the target audience? And do you have any feedback yet? Has it helped to, or will it help to increase visitor numbers? Yes, have you had any feedback from its use yet?
Yes, I'm not sure if this will have something to do with a number of visitors. Of course, we hope that it's one attraction more for the region, but it's more like a additional information for visitors, especially for school groups, also for tourists. And also we have had international school groups attending like camp schools in our region. So they are also an important audience. But of course, not forgetting the local people. So we also hope that this helped to them to realize better their home region and what has happened there in past time.